Hello, my name is Helen Oshislawski, and thank you for joining me for a HIPAA Minute. Today's question is, if a healthcare provider accidentally sends or faxes or emails patient information to the wrong place, is that a breach which has to be reported to the affected patient? The short answer is that if patient information is disclosed to a person who is not authorized to have access to such information, then the provider must presume that this is a breach. The high-tech amendments to HIPAA require providers to presume that any unauthorized disclosure of a patient's information is a breach. However, a healthcare provider is also allowed to then assess the facts and circumstances surrounding the breach incident and document if they can affirmatively demonstrate that there is a low probability that the patient's information has been compromised. This is sometimes referred to as the breach assessment. As part of the breach assessment, the provider should evaluate 4 factors. Number 1, if the type of the information that was affected was sensitive. For example, if the patient's social security number was compromised. Number 2, whether the unauthorized person was someone who has a duty and/or has the willingness to keep the information confidential. For example, if the unauthorized recipient was another healthcare provider. Number 3, whether the compromised information was actually viewed. Number 4, whether the provider is able to mitigate the anticipated harm of the unauthorized disclosure. If a provider is able to reach a favorable conclusion on each of these 4 factors, then the patient does not need to be notified of the accidental disclosure, nor would the provider need to report the incident to the federal agency overseeing HIPAA breaches. The 4-factor breach assessment must be documented, and it must be maintained in the provider's HIPAA compliance records for 6 years in case of a HIPAA audit. I hope that you found this HIPAA Minute helpful and will join me again soon. Please remember that a HIPAA Minute is not legal advice, and if you have specific HIPAA questions or other legal issues, you should consult with an attorney who can advise you directly.